Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Stanz Show. Another interview episode this time, and maybe the most exciting interview we've done yet. In fact, I'll guarantee this is, before hearing anything they say, this is the most exciting interview we're going to have on the show. It is going to be extremely valuable to aspiring voice actors, people who want to work in the industry, and I think we're all going to learn something today. Here with me, I have Vanille, Gabe, and Shannon, three voice actors who have voiced characters in Valorant, actually Neon, Kayo, and Jett, respectively. Make sure that I said those all in the right order. And we're going to talk a little bit about voice acting, gaming, how they got into the industry, and then answer some questions from chat. And we're going to get right into it with, I think, the easiest question of the night that you've probably answered 100 times. We'll go one by one, starting with Vanille. How'd you get into voice acting?
So I was around 10 or 11 years old and I was just doing my thing on the internet, and then I saw people who were voice acting for fun on like YouTube and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started doing it for fun on YouTube too, and I was doing that for years just as a hobby. It wasn't until around 2016 I joined a TV contest in the Philippines in our anime TV channel.
Mm-hmm.
For aspiring voice actors. So I got on that show. I met professional voice actors in the Philippines, and that was like my entryway into the industry professionally after that show.
Uh-huh.
And then at the same time, I was also doing voice acting online for indie games and stuff. So yeah.
That's so interesting to me. I think I did not expect like a contest to be the way that someone got into voice acting. Is that do TV companies or online companies, do they hold these contests often? Is that something that is reasonable, or are you like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, you binked the golden ticket?
For the Philippines, a few like local voice actors who were doing anime dubs, they got into the industry the same way I did, because this contest used to be held like every year, but our anime TV channel actually like shut down, so they're not doing the contest anymore, which is sad. But,
I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, but hey, you made it in the door at least before, and now look at you.
I was on the last batch of people before they closed, so I was really lucky.
Oh, that's fantastic. How about you, Gabe?
Yeah, I got into voiceover when I was a sophomore in high school. I was in class, and I remember my teacher was kind of picking people to read in the class, and I was sitting there just so bored at how people were reading it. Uh-huh. I was a class clown, and I wanted to do something different, so they called on me to read, and I was, So they called on me to read, and it was a biology book. So how epic can you make a biology book sound? I don't know, but so. They picked me to read, and I'm like, the organism is green. And so at that age, you got to understand, like, my voice is up here. So I'm like, the organism is green, trying to make it sound epic. And people were actually paying attention in class and stuff. And then my teacher at the end of the year was like, you should definitely do the announcements for school. For whatever reason, they had an audition process to do the announcements for our high school, which is like, when you think about it, it's like, what? But I'm so glad they did that, because it was my first like audition to use my voice. And so I did that, got into radio broadcasting because I wanted to kind of figure out how to edit, how to put a show on and stuff, and also just kind of figure out a way to, be a personality on air. Did that. At the same time, I was studying music education. So I was chasing after that, got my degree in that. As I was doing that, I was doing like mom and pop shops, like recording like voicemails, like stuff for church, and like anything I could put my voice on, I was recording it. I was also doing impressions on Instagram and Vine back in the day, and just Vine. Woo! And I was just kinda,
does that date all of us a little bit? Unfortunately, oh no, it's getting hot.
Like
in here.
It just hit me. I was like, holy! But I was doing all that kind of stuff and trying to build some type of following. I created a voiceover demo, submitted it to an agent in 2017, and they were like, okay, you live in Dallas, a little nervous about that because, you're not in the hub, but we'll take a chance on you. They signed me, and I've been doing it full time ever since. So
that's amazing.
That's short story.
Yeah, super cool. I love the idea that as someone who is a bit of a class clown myself and always trying to like find ways to do something, that is what helped you discover it. And shout out to that teacher for like actually telling you like there's something you can do with this, instead of, I think the horror stories that teachers just tell you to shut up, or, hey, don't do that, don't mess around.
It's for her as a teacher. It's like, if you get the class's attention in what you're reading, it's like, keep going.
They care about biology for 5 minutes at least. Yeah,
exactly. So it was great. That's funny. I added her on Facebook maybe a year ago, and I was like, you won't believe what I'm doing. I'm working on all this stuff, and she's just so happy for me. So anyway, It's,
there's two reasons
that's
you
really
reach
fun.
back out to your teachers. It's to tell them like you inspired me and thank you, or hey, you told me I would never make it and now look at me. So I'm glad it was the
Exactly.
happier version of the story.
Thankfully, it was. Yeah.
Shannon, how about you? How'd you get started?
Well, great. I'm using my British accent now. Well, my background's a bit weird. I actually did K-pop for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And did music and whatever it may be. And as soon as that ended, I actually got an Instagram DM about this audition.
Uh-huh.
And it was timed really well too, because I was going back to the UK and they were like, hey, you know, interested for this audition? They didn't tell me anything. Like,
Wait, are we talking about the Riot audition? So this is right after K-pop. Oh man, that's amazing. Yeah.
It was weird because this is technically my first, other than the Akali voiceover, this was my first one ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pretty big one too. So originally they told me that I didn't get the part, I remember, because I went back to Korea for a musical that I was doing at the time, and I remember they emailed saying, hey, after all those 4 auditions, we just don't think you sound like Jett because she sounds so young.
Uh-huh.
We feel like people are going to feel bad about picking off this character in game.
Right.
They want her to sound a bit more mature. And then I guess they went on a search for another 6 months, and then they emailed me back saying, psych, never mind, we want you back on this.
They didn't know how good they had it. Oh no.
I guess it was it's nice to have a character, a Korean character, and have someone who is Korean voice that character. That's something that's amazing to see. And it was nice to kind of incorporate Korean and English, you know. I mean, in this day and age, like, being able to be bilingual is like very, very common now, right? So it's nice to kind of utilize both. So that was technically how I got the part, or how I even got into voice acting. And then my second gig, I guess, was doing the Genius interview as Akali for their new album that came out, and oh boy,
Good boy in a good way or a bad way? Oh no.
I got dragged through the mud for that. You know, league community is hits different. It hits different sometimes. I love the toxicity. I think it's funny.
Yeah, especially when you imagine them as children. You're like, okay, this is fine.
It's great. It's great.
Let's stay talking about like the different video games and being in them. And Shannon, we'll go reverse order, start with you. You voiced Jett, and Jett in the first year of Valorant, whether or not people knew it would happen, has been like the character, the face of Valorant, both in like their marketing pushes, but also in esports. All the teams have to have a good Jett player, and every team is playing one. Was that something that you are proud of, or you expected, or like what does that mean? Is that cool or scary?
Well, I'm gonna flip back to my American accent now. I feel like when I was doing the Jett voice lines, I know that Jett was supposed to be a little timid. She was supposed to be a little more, you know, reserved, and I said, fuck that. I want her to be big and obnoxious and just toxic. And I feel like a lot of the people who main Jett have a little bit of that spice in them. And it's nice to see. It's like, it makes me very proud to see like technically I like breathed life into this character, right? Like it's like it's going to be a part of me, and that's something that I am immensely proud of. And to see everyone else enjoy Jett like as an agent that they want to main with her abilities, and also like it's so flashy, it's really cool, and also she's just like, you know, like go hard, go fast kind of character, right? It's very humbling to see. Like it's very Very humbling. I'm very, very proud that usually teams have to have at least one good Jett, and I'm just like, yes.
Yeah, you know you're gonna get to hear your voice lines, and it's gonna be an exciting time. And it's really cool that, like you said, they wanted the character to maybe be a little more timid, or they had issues with like the age of the character, and you made the executive decision to, I'm gonna do a little bit this way. And that's something that has shown itself not only in the voice lines, but in the play style and the toxicity and how the game plays itself, which I think lends itself to why Jett is so fun and cool, right? The voice lines and the dashing in and everything, which is awesome.
You have no idea the amount of, it's so funny. Like the recording process was about like a whole week or so. And I remember, I swear like a sailor, by the way, it comes from the family. us Brits swear so much. But I remember literally any voice line that I was able to do, I would always slap a curse word next to it, like, and it would, and I remember like they were starting to, you know, encourage more of it, and that's actually where the line "there you are, you little shit" comes from, is because I kept putting a curse word behind it, and they were like, if we can go with it, we'll keep it, and now everyone loves that voice line.
Oh, definitely. Especially because it doesn't always come out. So when you hear, I remember the first time I heard it, I was surprised. I went like, oh, that can be in this game? And it's very Jett. It's very cool. On to Gabe. Gabe, you voiced Kayo in the game, which is a very different character. So for those of you who don't know, Kayo is a robot person. Very different than like a young Korean girl who's dashing around. What are some things you thought of as you got like the brief for Kayo and you wanted to put your own personal touch on it?
Yeah, it's funny. I would have sent my initial take of KO, I wouldn't have got the role.
Really?
That's this crazy thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So what happened? I got the audition size maybe I think end of February, top of March of 2021, and I didn't know anything about Valorant. What I did know was like there was a cinematic that I saw of Jett, Shannon's character, and Phoenix. And I thought it was a TV show. And I was like, bro, why didn't I get the audition for this show?
Oh, when they're chasing her through the streets, right? Or he's chasing her. Yeah, it's very cool cinematic.
Yeah, that was back in, I think, 2020 is when I saw that. Didn't think of it, didn't know it was a game. I was shocked when I figured out it was a game. But anyway, I got the sides, audition. They said that it was this, you know, robot looking. They had actually a picture of him. And robot looking dude. You know, and in my mind, when I think robot, I was like, okay, now I got to figure out how to talk in like a static, very monotone voice. And so I just went for it. I did an audition. You know, I did the first take. I was going through. I was like, grenade out. They're suppressed. Grenade. You are powerless. Like very just flattened, just like, you know, it was like a robot. And then like I went halfway through the audition. I was like, there was a line that was talking to, that was in regards to Brimstone. And it was something like, Brimstone, I got your back, brother. And I was like, I don't know that a robot is going to make that sound the way it's supposed to sound. So I went back and I deleted everything. I said, I'm going to do it the way I think it needs to be done. And I just, everything you hear now with KO, I kind of, the essence of him, I came up with that on just let's see. And I got, maybe like a week later, I got an email or a call from my agent who's like, yo, Riot really likes you, and they actually sent you a note that you should read. And he said, one of the writers sent the note saying like, I mean, it was a paragraph of just like, thank you so much for what you brought to KO. You made him come alive, and we just love him. We all got excited. And when I'm reading this, I'm like, oh, because the year prior, I was like, next year, I really want to get into video games. And then to get that note after I auditioned, it was like, oh man, that's so confirming for me. And so anyway, I got in and worked with the writers and the director. I think it took about a month and a half of recording. And then I think we ended in May, and then KO came out in June, which is crazy. Wow.
That's a fast turnaround. Yeah.
Very fast turnaround. And so, yeah, that's kind of how he came about. And we figured out his voice, his placement. I think at first I kind of had him at a normal speaking level, like where I'm at now. And then we're like, let's make him a little bit more rounder. And so if I'm going to do a rounder voice, it's kind of go like this and make it kind of sound big chested. And then you bring him down. And so then when you add everything else with the electricity and the robot stuff, you know, then he sounds like KO. and then whatever, he kind of comes alive that way. So we kind of milk that with the directors.
That's amazing. It's really cool how not only, again, like Jett, like Shannon, you had to make a decision of like, you know what, I just don't think this is right. Like based on some of these voice lines, I'm going to add my thing to it. And then that's what they liked about it, right? There's like some exciting things of, oh, we're adding some life to this character. We're making Kayo not just a robot, but someone who is interesting, especially in their relationship with other characters like Brimstone and the lore that Riot Games is adding. And also, man, wanting to get into video games and then getting to do a voice in a Riot Games game is insane.
Bro, it was literally because then a week after that, I found out that I had booked a Call of Duty game, and so it was just kind of like, I'm like into one of the biggest games out right now. What's going on? And so it was, I think it's also a testament to like when I talk to people about auditioning and stuff, I'm like, yo, yes, give them what they're asking for on there because that's what they're asking for, but also do something that's just unique to you, that's different, and that's what's going to stand out in the auditions when they hear it. They're like, wait, we didn't think about that. But that is dope. And they'll add that and they'll mix it in. So anyway, it's just a little tip.
Yeah, that's amazing. And a great tip to people that are doing that. I think especially when you're young and new to an industry, it can be easy to go, okay, robot character, and okay, I got to read it exactly how I think a robot would read it. Versus once you get a little more experience and you start to feel more confident in your abilities as a voice actor, you can start adding those flourishes and things that you think would be additive to the character versus reading what their dream character is. Especially in gaming, because game devs, they'll write lines and a lot of them are really good, but I think they need a lot of times the voice actor or the person to become the character to create the 50-50 on both sides. Cheers to 2022 and resolutions you can actually keep. How about upgrading your grooming routine for the new year? Our sponsors at Manscaped are here to make the ball drop into 2022 the cleanest ever. Set your first New Year's resolution with good intentions and join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code STANZ20 for 20% off and free shipping. Now, today we've been talking about Valorant, voice acting, and the agents, and I think there's a few agents that probably groom a little better than the others. Off the top of my head, I think Omen is smooth down there. And if you think he's getting there using some dollar store razors, you are absolutely off base. He's using the Lawnmower 4.0. He is using the ball cream. He's using everything he's got. So make sure that you get 20% off and free shipping with code STANZ20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com as long as you use code STANZ20. It's new year, new me in 2022 with Manscaped. Vanille, going to you. This is cool because I just watched your, making Neon video and how excited you were. I'd love to know, like, your family, your brother, who I believe plays Valorant. Like, what was it like when you got the call back and you're going to get to voice a character? What did you think? What did they think? Was it an exciting time for you?
Yeah, I wasn't actually allowed to tell them. So
oh, no. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to keep this a secret for a long time. And now I know why it took so long for Neon to come out, because they were still working on Kayo. I got my audition for Neon in March around the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
That's
God.
crazy.
Okay. So they were auditioning probably multiple voice actors for different characters, and then the release schedule was just different for all of them. Kayo was the first, and then obviously Neon coming out. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me that Gabe said I got back to him within like a week. I didn't hear from them for like more than a month. And I was like, for sure, I did not get this. It's been more than a month. And then, I got that email and I was like, oh my God.
And so your family knows now. Obviously, the character is out.
Yeah, they know now,
what is that like now that you can finally spill the beans that you've been recording these lines?
I mean, my family's just so proud. You know what Filipinos are when we go to like family gatherings and that. They're all like, hey, this is my daughter. She's in this game. And, they're all like that right now. And, yeah, but my brother, he's kind of keeping it low key. He's like an annoying little brother who's like, I don't really care about this, but I'm sure in private,
you think deep down
really
he's like, oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
He's telling all his friends.
He's probably in voice chat being like, you know what? That's my sister.
Yeah,
exactly. To my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. You mentioned what it was like being, having like a Filipino family and being excited by it. We have a question that actually comes from someone in the Tiger Nation Discord, Spinkles, talking about diversity and representation to those who are like underrepresented in their favorite movies and games. And gaming, unfortunately, has been an industry that lagged even behind those. What does it mean voicing Neon? And have you seen, support in the Filipino community? Is it exciting to them in the voice acting world as it is to you in like getting your dream role?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just on like before Neon was even like formally like announced, before her trailer was out, they were putting out teasers. She was even leaked by Amazon at one point, and so it was pretty early on that I got to see everybody's excitement for it. And yeah, and then when she finally was revealed on a trailer, I got so many messages from Filipinos who felt seen by Neon, and it's really heartwarming. And representation matters. And
Oh, totally.
it really shows. Yeah.
Yeah. Does you got a bunch of emails from people in your community or people saying like, I want to be like you, without spoiling anything, has this led to an uptick in like requests for you to do demos or recordings, or what does that look like now that you've done a Riot Games character? In my mind, it would think it would be amazing, but also I know that sometimes things are slower burn.
Yeah, I have gotten some opportunities here and there because of this, especially because in the Philippines, we don't typically do this type of voice acting work. We don't really do video game voice acting here because we don't have a video game industry the same way that the US does. We have smaller indie studios here, but sometimes they don't even hire voice actors who are local. They go for voice actors who are also abroad, so it's kind of weird like that. But
that's tough.
Yeah. It has led to some opportunities. Can't talk about anything yet, but
yeah. All right, we'll be on the lookout. Yeah, we'll see it coming. It'll be exciting. Yeah.
That's crazy, Vanille. You're literally paving the way for that. That's amazing. You should be so proud of yourself. That's great.
Yes, ma'am.
That's really amazing.
Thank you. It's so surreal.
Yeah,
I bet. Yeah. Again, I watched the Riot Games. It's a great video, chat. If you guys haven't looked at it, the like recording lines for Neon with Vanille video is awesome. You get to watch her scream into the mic with a very angry face and really feel the character, which I thought was my favorite part.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, what you imagine recording is like.
Something about that.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So
please.
That wasn't actually me recording the lines because I'd already finished my lines in the game at that point when they decided they wanted to do that video for me. So then we kind of had to pretend I was recording the lines.
Oh, and so you were really putting some extra performance into it.
Yeah, the audio engineer would be there and he would play the lines that we recorded and I would repeat it. But then the director for like the video we were shooting would tell me to like, exaggerate my facial expressions more and make some movements. And as a voice actor, I don't really worry about those things, right? So it was like different for me to suddenly be like, oh, I have to make this face and I have to do this with my hands. And then
I got baited by the marketing. I believed it. I was like, oh man, they're going crazy in the recording booth over there. Maybe as Gabe, I want to kind of stay on that line. What does a recording session look like? Is it like your room obviously has like the soundproofing? Are you in a box talking into a microphone? When I've seen videos of like celebrities voice acting, and maybe these are all marketing too, for like movies that they're in, animated movies, they seem to be like moving around a lot. How do you record your lines, or what does it look like to you?
Yeah, to be honest, I'd say about 90% of the stuff that you see out there, like with behind the scenes of the movies and how they record stuff, a lot of it is like more staged and just kind of like they want to get you. I mean, they're wearing nice clothes and stuff. In real life, we chilling, man. We got pajamas. We got
really okay.
We got a cup of tea.
Why would you tell us?
Yeah, it's the best job in the world. Oh no!
Especially now that in the pandemic, we're like at home specifically. I mean, we don't know what we got on. But I normally will get a request from our agent. Hey, you have a session, a 4-hour session with this company, specifically I say Riot Games, and we hop on maybe a Zoom calls. We have a little thing called Source Connect that people can record us through. There's other avenues of ways so they're able to record us, and it actually sounds like we're in the room, with them, and they're in the room with us. It's really cool, and they just record on their side. And it's just 4 hours of doing, you reading your line, and you take breaks every hour, the top of the hour, and then you go back into it. And that's kind of what it is. And you're following the directors, and sometimes you'll do a line and they'll say, hey, one moment, and they'll go and talk, and you can't hear anything, so you think you're about to get fired. But then they come back and say, oh my God, we love that. Can you do that again? But this time say this, or what if we did this, or whatever. And so it's a collaborative effort there. But as an actor, because you don't hear anything, you always feel like, do they like what I just did? Or
it's the worst situation, and like, oh no, especially you mentioned, like with COVID happening and not going anywhere in person. And then I believe you mentioned you were in Dallas. What is the like not bare minimum, but did you have to like build a studio? Obviously you've got all kinds of stuff around you. What does a voice actor or an aspiring voice actor have to begin to start recording these lines or try to get roles in different things?
Yeah, well, for me, because I do TV commercials, movie trailers, and TV promo, I had to have a space to record in that was quiet, and had all the gear and the microphone and the preamps. I had to have that already. Especially if I do a lot of stuff for Fox, so you may hear me on Celebrity Watch Party on Fox, and I do like stuff like that. And so with them, it's like it's got to be quiet. So I already had a booth going on through the pandemic, but I know a lot of friends who were celebrities who were so used to going into the studio that when the pandemic hit, they were like, holy crap, I got to figure out a situation at home. And so one of the basics is like, if you got a closet with some clothes in there, that's like one of the best spots to record. It kind of works as your own kind of acoustic isolation thing, and get a nice microphone. One of the ones I love is the Rode NT1, or you can use a that paired up with a Scarlett 2i2 preamp. It's a little box that you plug your microphone into, and then you can plug it into a laptop if you got one. Use something like if you don't have a MacBook, GarageBand. I don't know what Windows uses for audio. Adobe Premiere. Oh no, Live. I think
Audition.
Audition.
Is that
Audition.
Yeah.
One of those as your DAW, and then you pretty much have the basic setup. Like the barrier to entry nowadays is like so. I mean, honestly, it's comes lower and lower. And so anyway, there's definitely opportunity there. But and the great thing about it is, although the pandemic is terrible, it's allowed for more opportunities for people who live like on the other side of the world to audition for stuff that is happening in Hollywood. Yeah,
totally.
It's an example of that. And so now the playing field is just now open. If you're super talented, if you're talented, you're gifted, you got something, now you have a shot to get into it. And so yeah, that's what I would say.
That's amazing. I think it's cool that we're doing this on Twitch because a lot of Twitch streamers or aspiring Twitch streamers use some of the same gear. So if you have, like, I'm using a Scarlett 2i2 and an SM7B, you could probably throw down some lines and try and, send it somewhere or figure out a place to be. So both worlds have also benefited. Unfortunately, like you mentioned, COVID's been terrible, but there's more people watching Twitch. And oh, what a beautiful dog. Oh man, you matched too with the sweater, with the hoodie. Oh, you got twins.
Aww. Get my dog.
Shannon, I will ask you a question. You do not have to put the dog down. This is another question from the Discord. We haven't seen Jett speak much in the cinematics, but when she does, it's always a very sharp, sassy, and memorable one-liner. Is there a dream cinematic storyline you would want to see where we see Jett speak more and showcase her personality? Or I'm going to add on to the question, like, what would you want Jett to do in the world of Valorant? Or like, what is Jett's dream or that you would want to see her do?
A little more backstory.
Yeah, like some backstory could be nice, right?
Her personality shines definitely in game with what she says and what she does, but there's always the flip side to like one coin where there's like I'm sure there's so many details without saying anything. I'm so scared to say anything.
yeah, don't spoil anything. I don't want you to get in trouble for Jett is Brimstone's daughter adopted or something. Oh my goodness, we figured it out.
Listen, I just want her to be able to have her moment, to kind of shine, like have the I think every agent should get one. Just like one long cinematic of like video. Their backstories, the lore, that would be so cool. Some more interactions with each other as well. Like that's why the newest cinematic warm up, right, is what it's called.
Yeah.
That was recorded I think it was like a year ago.
Oh wow.
Right. Well, for me it was. I think it was a year ago.
I recorded that in July.
Yeah, I recorded my lines in like March or
and you've
something.
Been waiting for the cinematic to come out. You can't talk about it. Yeah.
No.
That's insane.
So the funny thing is, every time we do a cinematic, everybody has like a good respectable amount of lines, And it makes me so sad every time I look at the cinematic, bro. My lines are gone.
Oh no!
Gone.
So
All
wait, you
you hear is
recorded
Jett
a
go.
lot of lines, but they didn't use them for the cinematic,
It's
or
so sad. Sometimes they change.
They do.
They change the cinematic, right? So like we'll be given a story. So usually what I'm used to is sometimes they'll have like a storyboard, like it's like all sketches and it just flips through with like the timer on the bottom, for example, and you'll have like a script, right? So you just gotta have to imagine these things are going on with like the sketches on this screen, unless you know they outdo themselves and have it animated, right? So I know like there was like a whole scene with like you know like with Jett with like a sniper rifle like closing in on someone, and all you could hear is like, and it was just so cool. And then when the cinematic came out for like a different one, it was gone.
Nowhere to be found.
Yeah, there was a couple lines for me too that I was like, I would this line would, and I went to look back. I was like, I guess they didn't use it. That's fine. You know?
Yeah, I think it would be so cool to kind of have like every single agent like have their own like little lore background story, you know, kind of, even if they don't want to go too much into detail, just kind of, you know, like testing the waters a little bit, you know, and then having like all the agents together, like, you know, vibing or something. That's why I like the warm-up cinematic. It was definitely a lot different to what we had seen, because everything was so serious, so fast-paced, and that was very much like it was kind of like family-esque. It just felt really like homey. So it was like that's something that I really like too, and I know the community really liked that too. So it's nice to kind of be able to see each agent, each character's personality, individual personality.
Yeah, totally. And in different situations versus running and like, oh, we've got to stop a bomb from exploding or like the classic things. I mean, to a layman, someone completely on the outside who's just a fan, Arcane has been massive. I mean, is there a world, and obviously not saying anything that you guys know, but like, I assume you guys would want a world of Arcane for Valorant. And then something that I don't necessarily know about voice acting, because you voice the characters, would you voice a character in like Arcane for Valorant? Would they bring in like, you know, Buscemi or something? I don't know. Like how does that work for anyone?
That's a great question. Go ahead, Jett.
Okay, all right, Toaster. Hold on a second.
Toaster.
I was just gonna say that was a complicated question.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to. Like, is Arcane for Valorant seems awesome, right? And then if they made it, do voice actors for games get to make it? I guess there's been so few games where they have then made a movie or a TV show, and so it's hard to say if the voice actor got credit. Or do voice actors for games get any work in like traditional long form animation? Do they consider it different? I guess that kind of whole world is a mystery to me.
It is a mixed bag, but 9 times out of 10, when something is going from a game or a property, or let's say something, you know, that it's been a niche thing or whatever, and it goes to the big screen, 9 times out of 10, they'll recast because they're trying to attract more people to watch it. So if you know that Dwayne The Rock Johnson is now going to be KO, you're definitely going to watch, right? Versus Gabe Kunda, who you don't really know other than you play the game. Maybe that's fine.
I
But
would watch.
We would all watch here, to be clear. In fact, if they get Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I'm not watching it. I'll boycott. So,
no, but you know, it's a lot. You know, the money that's invested in creating something like that has got to be, you know, recouped, and so. There are opportunities, I'm sure, that, you know, we may get the opportunity to do that. I don't know if there's anything in the works. Can't say anything. I don't know. But I'm sure they'll be given an opportunity. But for things like that, they normally sometimes go to a celebrity or something. But if that changes, trust me, I will be the one screaming from the hills, thank God, because I think there's a lot of talented voice actors out there. I mean, really talented voice actors out there. Who sometimes when they go to like a movie or they go to an animated series, they kind of get like side and like, yeah, you're going to play utility man #1. It's like, wait, I'm the voice of the main dude.
Yeah, Chris Pratt stole your job or something. You know, it's
exactly
like frustrating. Yeah.
Well, that too.
Not stole your job, obviously. You know, the movie studio is trying to make a movie that people go watch.
Sure.
I get it.
Exactly.
We'll start with Vanille for this one, but I want to know everyone's take. One, do you play Valorant or League of Legends, right? And then do you play your character? Is that what you like? Do you feel kind of indebted because you did the voice lines, or do you not like the play style and you play someone else?
I have not. Okay, so I played the game like before my first recording session, but I have not played my characters yet.
Really?
I've been meaning to. I still haven't because I feel like I'm still pretty busy, and I feel like if I actually sat down and started playing, it would just like keep going. Like I would just start getting addicted to it, and so I haven't been able to do that yet, but I definitely want to. And I feel like I have to play my characters or people are like going to crucify me for choosing someone else.
Yeah, it's like, come on. Yeah, you're the only person in the world that makes sense. You gotta do this character. I also feel like we're kindred spirits because I make a lot of YouTube videos, Twitch streams, things like that, podcasts, and I don't listen to them or watch them after the fact. And I think people look at me funny. So it's like, oh, you don't play the character you voiced? I get it a little bit. Like it's out there. People like it. It's fun and good, but don't necessarily need to do it. Same question for you, Gabe. Are you a Kayo man yourself? You talked before the podcast about playing a little ranked and how well it went or didn't go.
I can't feel like I could play anybody else. I started with him. And the thing about it is I went from controller because I was playing Call of Duty a lot of Call of Duty. And so I thought I was going to begin to another controller situation. Not happening. It's mouse and keyboard. And I just, a big shout out to Shannon for showing me the ropes. When I tell you she bodied me in these games.
Oh, exactly what Jett would do. Just
exactly what Jett would do. It's not far-fetched.
It was such a free kill. I can't not take that.
No, but I've played when I started when Kayo came out, I got on Twitch and I streamed for the first time, and I started with Kayo and I learned his stuff, and I really don't feel like I can play anybody else adequately. So Kayo's the guy, you know, and because I voice him, I'm just kind of like, I feel like I belong with this guy.
Yeah, it's you. You're the one in the game. It's not Kayo. It's Gabe, right? You're running around the map and doing your thing.
Exactly. So yeah.
Well, Shannon, it sounds like you are a gamer. You were, kicking Gabe around. Is that true?
Oh my goodness. My first FPS was actually Overwatch.
Okay.
And then
talking about games that have great like lore building outside of playing the game itself, the comics and the movies and it's cool. Yeah.
My aim, so my sensitivity, I'm used to using like high sens because Overwatch default sens is like super high in general. So like I had to like get used to the fact that I had to like lower down my sens, otherwise like I can't aim, and like the aiming whole thing is like another thing that I gotta like practice. And
totally,
I remember I used to actually hard main Jett because I love to play aggressive. Like I love to go in, and this is like back when like Jett had like the right click and it would always
it would kill him from across the map every time and reset your daggers. It was the best. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
That gave me so much confidence, and when that was gone,
oh yeah, now you have to aim and left click and get the headshot. Oh, it's terrible.
Oh my. So I remember I still did practice a lot more, and I was crispy for a while, and then I started 5 stacking with a couple of friends who of course already to it insta duelist, insta lock duelist. So little old me's like playing Killjoy or Sage, filling for the team, making sure everyone's alive. So
true leader.
The sacrifices I make
for team
for
play.
the
I'm sure they're grateful.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, exactly. If you're playing KO, it doesn't leave a lot of spots on the team for hard duelists. Question from Midnight in the chat. We can start with anyone who feels like they know this. They're saying that a lot of the voice actors they know are extremely present on Twitch. And it seems like more voice actors are streaming on Twitch and creating content. Gabe, you talked a little bit about Vine and Instagram. Is that like the best mechanism for getting yourself out there other than doing auditions, of course? And do you recommend voice actors to stream on Twitch?
I never made that correlation. I think the reason why I wanted to personally wanted to stream on Twitch is because I knew that Valorant was at least a Twitch heavy game. Like a lot of people stream it and stuff, and
totally.
Play. And so for me, it was like, oh well, let me do this as a way to interact with the community, and I think that'd be cool. And also, get, because some of them want to know, who's the voice of this and that, and I figured it would be cool to see somebody who voices the character, play the character, and also, I think again. Not to put her on the spot, but Shannon is a really I feel like a great pioneer in that, because I saw her stuff and I was like, oh, that's genius to play with your viewers and people who are fans of the character. That's cool, and it's almost like, because I do cons as well, conventions, and I'll go and meet a lot of fans who are fans of the work that I do in anime and other works and other jobs and stuff. And it almost feels like a little mini convention online where you get a lot of people who are excited about the stuff that you work on. Your own community, and you got a Discord and stuff, and you got mods and stuff, which I never knew about until Shannon's team helped me out. And now I've got some mods and stuff, and I'm like, this is amazing. And just getting to connect, I really enjoy that. And I think if you're a voice actor who has like a character, or whether it be on anime or video games or whatever, I say, if you want to interact with the community, it's been great so far. And I've been loving it. I've been really, really enjoying it, and just kind of building the hype with all the other projects I've got going on. I'm like, y'all, go check out this movie. I voiced a trailer for it, or go check out this, whatever. And they do it. I mean, that's exciting. It's a family of some sort.
Oh, definitely.
I gotta get in on that. But to answer that question, Shannon said she was found on Instagram. I was found on Twitter. Yeah, so maybe this was the same person who found us, because she had the same tactics. But she emailed me though. She did not DM me on Twitter. So I think having an online presence is important. Being able to be found online, especially for POC actors like me, where sometimes they would probably be seeking out specifically a certain race to match the character, then I think it's important that you are searchable online, and it's not enough to just have a profile on these websites. You have to make sure that you can be searchable, that you have on your bio that it says you're like, for me, I'm a Filipino voice actor, and it's on my bio. And actually asked her how she found me, and she said she just searched Filipino voice actor on Twitter,
and you were there,
and I showed up. So
Let's go.
That's important, I think.
Yeah, definitely making sure that you can be found in that way, right? Because you can be working really hard and grinding. We talk about it a lot when everyone, wants to be a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer. And it's like, hey, you can stream 10 hours a day and really work hard and have good content. But if you're not, marketing yourself, or at least taking the basic steps to promote it so that when someone searches Filipino voice actor, your name comes up, it's going to be really hard to succeed. So that's awesome to hear that it worked. Last question. I think we'll end with one that I think is a little bit fun. And if it's not fun, I'll think of another question. But and we'll start with you, Vanille. If you could voice one character in any media, so it's like, a animated movie or an anime or a video game, like what would be the dream character that you would want people to hear the voice? It's your voice and you're proud that you're voicing that character.
I have been like a Final Fantasy fan since I was like a kid.
Oh, that's awesome.
Would be a dream to be in the Final Fantasy franchise. So yeah, I think that would be a dream role for me. Or in the Life is Strange franchise, I'm also a huge fan.
Oh, totally. Yeah, those are awesome. Would you want to be a new Final Fantasy character? Or is there like a character that you vibe with? Like, do you want to be Cloud or Aerith? Or do you want just new character, newest Final Fantasy? Put me in there.
I mean, I don't really mind either way, but I feel like they've already cast people in the Final Fantasy VII remake, so I can't do that anymore. But yeah.
Yeah, you have to wait for the next one, unfortunately.
Would be just cool, yeah.
Awesome. How about you, Shannon?
I've been a diehard Legend of Zelda fan since I was a kid.
Okay.
And I remember one of the little things I used to do is, because Legend of Zelda back in the day, until Breath of the Wild came out, had
don't worry, I'm old, so yeah, you don't have to explain it to me, but for the chat who maybe are younger,
for the chat, right? It's literally
what
for the majority, right? So I remember I would read the lines as if it was part of the game, so I would voice act for myself. And awesome. I love Legend of Zelda. You have no idea. I'm such a geek. And I remember when Breath of the Wild came out, they had cutscenes and voice acting, and I was like,
Chef's kiss.
holy
Yeah, I mean, it changed the game compared to. Yeah,
that's
the
what
whole
I'm
time,
saying. So I was like, oh man, like that would be so cool. That'd probably be one of my biggest dream come true if I were able to voice act or even be like the smallest part in a Zelda game.
Yeah, you can do the Epona noises or something and
Yeah,
neigh in a field.
I would literally be Epona. Like it's fun.
Would you rather do a game version like Breath of the Wild 2, or would you rather they like a Zelda movie came out? Like what would be your dream as someone who games but also I assume watches movies, TV shows?
I feel like a game would be better. And this is like a personal thing, right? Like Arcane was amazing, right? But I think with the difference for me, at least, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, is with a game, it's very much a personal experience, like a very intimate experience where it's like, for example, like a God of War, for example, the newest one that came out, right? You internally like make these like deep connections with these characters, right? And I know in a movie or a TV show you do so as well, but it's like an actual journey that you have to take, right? You have to advance in the story to know what's happening in the story. And once you spend these hours, staying awake all night trying to, play through the game, you become connected and really care for these characters and like what happens, and you're so engrossed into the story, right? And that's one of the reasons why, like, if I have an opportunity like that, like I would rather want to be a part of the game, because I feel like it has a deeper connection with the player, right? Like you associate certain, that's why when people listen to 8-bit like old music from like back then from the game, it's like instant nostalgia, right? Or like a certain voice line that you hear and you're like, oh, I remember that. I remember hearing that for the first time, and I think that definitely stays with people a lot more than people think.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And that's probably one of the reasons why I would rather choose a game rather than, a movie.
Yeah, great answer. I mean, I remember like all the Star Fox 64 voice lines, and I'm sure I watched like hundreds of movies and cartoons at the time, and they just don't stick in my brain as much as Slippy and Peppy and those guys.
Yes.
I think it's because games are more immersive because you're directly controlling it. And I know a lot of games are more linear, but you still get to pick which side quests you get to choose.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's why it sticks with you more. It's more active because you're actually playing it, as opposed to like watching something that's more passive. So
Right. You have to be engaged for the game. Like it's impossible to play a game and not be, or to succeed in the game to move forward, like you talked about.
Right.
And now, like for instance, like Grand Theft Auto, for instance, you can role play and you can do like make up your own stories and actually continue to play. Versus a movie, it's just kind of the characters of the characters, right? And it's over. So yeah, I do resonate with that. For me, I have two things. I've got one is I want to be in a Marvel animated series.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I would love to be either Black Panther or War Machine.
Yes.
Fun fact about that, I was able to play War Machine on a mobile game.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, Marvel Future Revolution and Marvel Super War. But I want to get on the small screen, big screen, small screen.
Hey, the regular size screen. Yeah, just get me on there. Yeah.
My second one though is Kingdom Hearts. I need to figure out. Every year at the top of the year, I hop on a call with my agent and I'm like, listen, I don't know what I need to do, but if there are sides that come in for Kingdom Hearts, if it's just literally the a heartless number 5,
another grunt sound.
I want to be that thing. You hear me? Anyway, and so she's always like, when it comes through, I promise I'll send it your way. I'll promise us. So if I don't get a Kingdom Hearts 4, I may be finding a new agency. But, I'm just kidding.
That's perfect, man. Talking about how like engrossing games are, I remember as Kingdom Hearts. Spoilers for Kingdom Hearts 1 to anyone who hasn't played it. Go play it. When you go to Hollow Bastion, and the whole time you're chasing your friends Kairi and Riku, and then Riku is like, "Hey, I hate you now." I was 12 or whatever. I'm crying like a baby, and I'm thinking this is a video game. I'm used to playing these other games, and they're just fun. But it really affected me on an emotional level. So I think Kingdom Hearts would be up there for me if I had to try and get into a game.
I mean, even now, I'm still unpacking the emotional toll that Kingdom Hearts was as a young kid. I mean, the story goes so deep, you're just kind of like, God, dog, I did not understand. I was just hacking slashing, with Sora. And,
totally. XXXXXX. Yeah, just trying to get through all the heartless.
There's so many games that you replay when you're older as an adult, and it just makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh my God, I did not understand how depressing Ocarina of Time was. I was so young,
bro,
that it was so depressing.
The dumps.
Oh my God.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah, it's cool to go back and play them as an adult. And I think especially with you all as voice actors, like see the different things that voice actors did to help you feel those feelings, whether they were depressing or upbeat, and you get to these moments in the games. I think it takes a village to make any piece of media, and voice actors are an extremely important part of it because they are the line between the animation and the ears of the person listening. And without it, you'd be like, this is kind of weird. It's just a, reading. It'd be a silent film for you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for joining. I will end with giving you a free stage to promote anything you're working on, things that you're going to be in, Twitch streams, Instagram handles, anything that you want to get out there before we call it quits and end for the night. Starting with you, maybe Shannon. Starting with Shannon. We can go from bottom to top.
I do stream every day on Twitch.
Love that.
I play Valorant, and if you're interested in the voice actor for Jett screaming at a monitor, you are more than welcome to come through.
Hell yeah, they will. We'll have, I think people have been posting. Yeah, your Twitch streams are posted in the chat right now. So hopefully they will come through. That will be amazing. Gabe?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, all is at Gabe Kunda. I stream every Tuesday night for about a couple hours and play and have a good time. And you can also hear me on your TVs for The Batman, and other cool stuff. I'm always on your TV. Check out the Super Bowl this Sunday. Got a couple things on there.
Oh,
we
really?
Talk about yet, but
you can't tell us what things you're in because that would be like a spoiler for it. Yeah, that's tough.
The only thing I can say is just like, put your ears to the speaker.